Hi, everybody. This is Charlotte. Let's get real about real estate. I'm here with Eric Lay from Guaranteed Rate, and I am Charlotte, and I'm a local realtor here in Thurston County and also in Boise, Idaho. So today, Eric and I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about, we're hearing a lot about the potential recession, and so we wanted to go over some actual data because we know that there's going to be some news articles that come out that might be using some scare tactics, and you know that we love the data, so we're actually going to talk about that stuff today to kind of help calm everybody down. Let's look at what's happened in the past and what we kind of anticipate going forward. So how are you doing, Eric?
Yeah, I'm good. And I'm just excited about this because, like you just alluded to in the lead in, like when the media wants eyeballs, like that's why we joke when it bleeds, it reads, right? Scare tactics, headlines that make you shiver. Like that's just how they operate. But like Charlotte's going to show you, and we've got some data that we're going to show you that gets inside of those scary headlines that you're going to see. And I think you're all going to be quite surprised with what we show you here around what happens to real estate during recessions. So
yes, exactly. And I think that really kind of what it boils down to is people are so familiar with what happened in 2008, and they're all very, very scared that that's what's going to happen again. We kind of have this trauma around what happened in 2008. So this slide right here just shows that recession does not equal a housing crisis. And if you look at the home prices over the last 5 recessions, 3 out of those 5 recessions, it was actually an appreciation in normal levels between 3 and 5%. Then we have one in 1991, which was actually a depreciation, but it was only 1.9%. That, obviously offers a quick recovery when we're talking about normal appreciation levels, average appreciation. And then of course, the biggie in 2008, which was a large depreciation. But as Eric can also allude to, that was really caused by housing itself. So it's kind of its own different animal.
Yeah, and that's the perfect way to say it. Like, that's the thing that people don't realize. Like, not all recessions are created equal, just like Charlotte's slide there says, right? The housing crash of 2008 caused that recession. And if you think about the reasons why, and some of you that have watched our videos before, I've been a lender since 2005. So I worked through that big red bar that she was showing you there, and it was ugly. But I'll tell you what some of the loan programs looked like. I mean, we had 100% financing with stated income, possibly no income, possibly no assets, 580 credit scores. What could go wrong with that formula, right? Everything's going to be perfect. Well, big red bar is what resulted from that. And as opposed to now, full document underwriting, usually a minimum credit score of a 620 or a 640, and down payments required unless you're going to housing agencies with down payment assistance or VA loans or something like that, right? The formula just is completely different right now in my world underwriting than it was then. And there isn't a way that can happen the way it happened then, because the underwriting guidelines are strong, they are full documentation, and they make sense. Whereas that stuff we just described, that doesn't make sense, obviously.
Right, exactly. And I think another point to that, it is very different now, not just in lending, but in housing inventory, right? Like we had housing inventory that was up to like 9 months, 7 months before we would run out of inventory. We look at those numbers, it's the month supply of inventory, and it really goes to show how strong of a seller's market or a buyer's market it is. And right now, we're seeing 2 weeks worth of inventory. If nothing else came on the market, we'd be out of inventory in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's very, very different.
Yeah. And I'm not the inventory expert, obviously. That's Charlotte. She's a real estate agent who watches this, but I did read an article from Freddie Mac. I think it was just this week. They were talking about with the number of buyers that we have now nationwide, not local to any market, but nationwide, there are 4 million too few homes right now for a normal balanced market. And then they were comparing that to the biggest new construction year in history. Builders built 2 million homes. So do the math, right? If we're 4 million homes short right now, and the best year ever, builders have built 2 million homes, we're not going to catch up anytime soon. And if you understand just simple supply demand, that is a recipe for prices to continue to increase, not drop. So,
Well, especially when we were talking on previous episodes about the largest buyer pool right now, right? Like the millennials, like they need to at least have that 4 million in order to kind of keep up with the demand for that
right.
large buyer pool.
Right.
So,
That's exactly right. And the other thing, if I can share my screen with everybody too, and we were talking about this, a lot of people don't realize that recessions are actually very good for interest rates. So just quick video check, Charlotte. Can you see that okay?
yep,
The
we're good.
gray vertical bars that you're seeing on the screen represent the recessions, and those were highlighted in Charlotte's first screen. Well, take a look at what interest rates did from the start of the recession to the end. And I'll hover over this to see. The recession back in the early 70s, we started there at about 8.75. At the end of it, we're at 8.81. That's essentially unchanged, right? Look at the big one here. We're up at rates of 18%, and they came down to 12%. And you can see that trend line goes down through every single one of those recessions, right? So recessions, obviously, you have to be careful what you wish for. And we were talking about that before we went live, because there's lots of bad things that come out of economic recessions. This is one of the good things that can come out of recessions. And it is better for housing because lower interest rates equal better affordability.
Exactly. And especially, right now, that's what we all want. There's so many buyers that are trying to get in. The inventory is so low. So, I mean, it would be really nice to maintain that low interest rate so we can continue to get people in homes and hopefully level things out.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So anything else you wanted to add, Eric?
I don't think so. I think just dispelling that, we like to call those myth conceptions, right? There is a lot of myth conception around what a recession means to housing, because our recent memory, that big bad one in 2008 that you highlighted there with that red bar, everybody thinks that that's going to happen now just because that's what always happens, right? Well, it actually doesn't. And I'm glad that we put this together for people to kind of dispel some of that.
Yeah, so recessions does not equal housing crisis. So hopefully that helps everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Until next time, have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye.